quickly, who am I and why should you listen to me for the next 20 minutes? Well, my name is Nicola and I've been teaching higher level Leaving Cert French for almost 20 years now. But here's the most important part. I'm also an SEC examiner, an oral examiner and a corrector. So that means I don't just teach the exam, I actually mark it. I'm one of the people sitting across from students in the oral exam and one of the people reading the answers on results day. So when I tell you what separates a H3 student from a H1 student, I'm not guessing. I've spent 2 decades watching that gap happen, sentence by sentence in real exam scripts. And today I'm going to close a piece of that gap for you. So here are 2 sentences. Read them with me. Je pense que c'est important d'apprendre les langues. Bien qu'il soit difficile d'apprendre une langue, je pense que cela en vaille la peine. Same student, same ability, same idea really. That language learning matters. But one of these sentences gets a H3, the other gets a H1. The first one is correct. It's safe. And that's exactly the problem. It's forgettable. An examiner reads hundreds of je pense que sentences every single sitting. The second one does something different. It takes a risk with structure, and that risk is rewarded. The differences between these 2 sentences is one grammar structure that most students actively avoid, the subjunctive. And that's what we're fixing today. So here's exactly what's going to happen in this session in 3 steps. Firstly, we're going to spot it. I'm going to give you 6 phrases, not conjugation rules, not tables, but 6 phrases. If you see one of these in a sentence, your brain should immediately know subjunctive goes here. Secondly, we're going to use it live again and again. I'm not just going to show you one example. I'm going to take 4 different topics, the kind that comes up constantly in the Leaving Cert, and rebuild a flat sentence into a H1 sentence for each one, so you can see the pattern repeat. And thirdly, then we're going to score higher. So you'll leave this video with a trigger list and 4 ready-made example sentences that you can adapt and use in your very next practice essay or oral exam. So there'll be no overwhelm, no 20 grammar rules, just one method applied over and over until it clicks. So this is what I call the trigger phrase method. Forget conjugating the subjunctive for a moment. We'll get there. First, we're training the eye. Here are 6 phrases. Say them with me out loud right now. Yes, actually say them, don't just read them. And for each one, I'm going to give you a quick example so you hear it working in context, not just sitting on its own. So, il faut que, it is necessary that. For example, il faut que le gouvernement fasse plus pour l'environnement. So the government needs to do more for the example. Notice that fasse is coming from faire, all right? And that is when it's pushed into the subjunctive. So, il faut que le gouvernement fasse plus pour l'environnement. Bien que je sois fatigué, je continue à étudier. So, although I'm tired, I keep studying. So, bien que je sois, so sois there is être in the subjunctive. So, bien que je sois fatigué, je continue à étudier. Avant que, so before. So, il faut réviser avant que l'examen n'arrive. So, it's necessary to revise before the exam happens. So, notice that we have a little ne before arrive, and it's called the expletif. It doesn't mean not, it's just a formal touch. But don't worry about that for now. So, il faut réviser que l'examen n'arrive. Pour que, so that. So, our example, je travaille dur pour que mes parents soient fiers de moi. I work hard so my parents are proud of me. So you hear sois again there. So, je travaille dur pour que mes parents soient fiers de moi. Je ne pense pas que. I don't think that. So, for example, je ne pense pas que ce soit une bonne idée. And you hear soit there again, and soit is the être. So, I don't think that it is a good idea. So, je ne pense pas que ce soit une bonne idée. And these come up over and over again, the être and the avoir in the subjunctives. They're 2 irregular subjunctives. The last one then, il est possible que, so it is possible that. So for example, il est possible que je fasse un échange linguistique l'année prochaine. So it's possible I'll do a language exchange next year. So, il est possible que je fasse un échange linguistique l'année prochaine. Face there comes from faire in the subjunctive. So those are 6 phrases and 6 working examples. I would screenshot this slide, put it on your phone, lock if you have to. The goal isn't memorizing it like a poem, it's recognizing it. So the second that you see these 6 trigger phrases, then you know that the subjunctive has to come next. So here are the trigger phrases in action. So as I said, il faut que le gouvernement fasse plus pour l'environnement. Bien que je sois fatigué, je continue à étudier. Il faut réviser avant que l'examen arrive. Je travaille dur pour que mes parents soient fiers de moi. Je ne pense pas que ce soit une bonne idée. Et il est possible que je fasse un échange linguistique l'année prochaine. So, why is it so important that we put them into our little phrases? Why does it actually matter for our grade? Why do examiners care? Well, there's 3 reasons, okay? So, communication is the first reason. Using the subjunctive shows that you can express doubt, necessity, and emotion. This is when we use the subjunctive. So, it's a higher level of communication. Language range, it signals to the examiner that you understand French structure beyond the basic sentence pattern. So you've gone beyond the junior cycle, you've gone beyond the ordinary level in the Leaving Cert, and you're now at this top range of the language for Leaving Cert. And directly the H1 marking band. So this isn't just a nice thing to have. This structure matches word for word the SEC descriptors for top band written and oral answers. When I'm marking, I'm specifically looking for range of structure, and this is one of the clearest ways to show it. So let's do this one live. 4 times across 4 topics, you will actually be asked to write or speak about in the exam. Same method every time, so watch the pattern repeat. Our H3 answer here, je pense que c'est important d'apprendre les langues. So I think it's important to learn languages. Now I want to delete this up a little bit, make it look nice, make it definitely look as though I'm a H1 student. So why not change it around a little bit? So start off our sentence with bien qu'il soit. Although it is difficile d'apprendre une langue, je pense que cela en vaille la peine. I think that it is worth the hassle. Okay, so we're just starting off with bien que. We see it, it's our trigger phrase, and we're like, right, we're straight into the subjunctive. What about one on l'environnement, the environment? Je pense que la pollution est un grand problème. So I think that pollution is a big problem. Very common sentence that you'd see in the written part. Let's try and flower that up a little bit. So, il faut que nous fassions plus d'efforts pour protéger l'environnement, bien que ce soit difficile de changer nos habitudes. It's necessary that we make more effort to protect the environment, although it's difficult to change our habits. Look at what I've just done. 2 triggers in one sentence. Il faut que, which is forcing, fassions, which is our subjunctive, because we know straight away our trigger is il faut que, so we have to put in a subjunctive, and bien que, which is forcing another subjunctive, so I'm changing être there to soit. So bien que ce soit difficile de changer nos habitudes. So two subordinate clauses instead of none. Let's look at our third one. Je pense que les réseaux sociaux sont dangereux pour les jeunes. Nice little safe sentence as well. Every examiner has read an example of this sentence. So if I want to change it to something a little bit nicer, bien que les réseaux sociaux aient des avantages, il est possible qu'ils causent des problèmes de santé mentale chez les jeunes. Although social media has advantages, it's possible that it causes mental health problems amongst young people. So bien que, again, is forcing a subjunctive. So bien que les réseaux sociaux aient, there comes from avoir. Il est possible que, force is another subjunctive, which cause. And notice that the sentence is showing balance. So bien que concedes a point before making your own. So examiners love this structure because it shows argumentative maturity, not just grammar. Let's have a look at another one. Je veux être médecin parce que c'est un bon métier. Nice one I hear a lot in the oral exam. I want to be a doctor because it's a good job. Grand for H3, but kind of flat for anyone aiming higher. So if I want to go a little bit deeper and make it more of a H1, bien que ce soit un parcours long et difficile, je veux devenir médecin pour que je puisse aider les autres. So although it is a long and difficult path, I want to become a doctor so I can help others. So bien que there is forcing soi, pour que forces puisse, and that comes from pouvoir, another irregular one that's worth knowing. So that sentence does something important for oral specifically. It shows reflection, and it's exactly the type of answer that moves an oral from a H3 to a H1. Let's pause for a second, and I want you to try one yourselves. So take this sentence. Je pense que le sport est bon pour la santé. I think that sport is good for your health. Using one of the trigger phrases, the 6 trigger phrases that we saw at the beginning, I want you to rebuild it into a H1 sentence. Okay, so if you're still trying to work it out, you can pause here, but I'm going to give you one version that you could use. Bien que certaines personnes n'aiment pas le sport, il est possible que cela améliore leur santé mentale autant que physique. So, although some people don't like sport, it is possible that it improves their mental health as much as their physical health. So, yours doesn't need to match exactly, okay? If you use the trigger phrase correctly, that's the win. Now, some examiner tips that I want you to take away from today. So don't force the subjunctive into every single sentence. One well-placed subjunctive structure in an essay or oral answer beats 5 clumsy forced ones. So it's quality over quantity. Examiners notice natural use far more than they notice frequency. Je pense que takes the indicative, so that means it takes the present tense. Je pense que, you don't need the subjunctive after je pense que, but you do need it after je ne pense pas que. Okay, and examiners do check this one carefully. And the third one, say your trigger phrases out loud daily until recognition is instant, not memorized, but just automatic. So everything I've just shown you, 6 phrases, 4 topic makeovers, 1 practice sentence is 1 lesson, 1 skill. And that's week 9 out of the full FrenchExam.ie higher level course. And on week 9 of the French.ie higher level course, we will go into the subjunctive a lot more deeply. We will look and see how you form the subjunctive so that when you're caught on the hop in the exam yourself on the day, you'll be able to form a subjunctive sentence really quickly. Inside the course, every single week is built exactly the way this lesson was. So one exam skill taught the way an examiner actually thinks about it, not just a grammar textbook explanation. All 36 weeks are sequenced to higher level Leaving Cert calendar covering grammar, vocabulary, essays, letters, orals and orals, with model H1 answers broken down feature by feature. The oral exam prep landing the week before your orals begin. Here you can see the breakdown of my program for the whole year. So 36 video lessons. With each video lesson, you receive comprehensive notes in a PDF form. You can download it after the lesson. In mostly every class, we have oral activities, which will help us with our listening. Oral preparation, I spend a lot of time practicing and preparing for the oral exam, and it is most importantly exam focused, which is designed to maximize your exam success. So that's a taste of 1 lesson out of 36. So if today's session gave you 4 sentence structures that you can use in your very next essay or oral practice, imagine what 36 weeks of this built the same way could do for your grade. Right now, you can join with EARLYBIRD, the code for €18 off, but only before the 17th of August. After that, the price goes back up. So head to FrenchExam.ie and use the code EARLYBIRD, all in capital letters, at the checkout. Et bonne chance, tu vas y arriver. Merci et au revoir.
C'est parti, on y va.